Yes, sir.
How do the commissioners view your respective roles on the COVID-19 situation? How do you define yourselves?
Well, we are elected of all the people of Stark County, and that's why we had the Stark County Health Commissioner in here today. And the good news to me was they're all collaborating together with the health departments of Canton, Massillon, and Alliance, and Stark County. And we've circulated the memo for our employees. So as an elected official of all the people in Stark County, we just want to keep people notified of what's being done to protect them.
Commissioner Creighton,
Our
comment?
job is not to usurp the authority of the health commissioners of this county, but to follow their advice and to do what they ask us to do and not to cause any panic.
Commissioner Smith?
I think it was well said. I agree.
If a COVID-19 case develops in Stark County, are the commissioners considering asking people and companies to have their employees work remotely?
In my opinion, that's not our role. Our role is to, handle our employees and work with the health departments. So
Okay,
I
well,
think
how
it's
about
my
your
role to tell
employees?
Timkins that their employees should start remote. That's not our role.
Okay, how about for the county's employees?
Your hypothetical is one case.
Well, that it's present in the community. As the health commissioner set forth to you, that there are concerns that there may be a community presence. Not confirmed yet. My question goes to what if, and what is coming out to me from government officials at various levels in our government is, of course, the best thing is to prevent. And one of the ways that it gets broadcast is through unnecessary congregations. And so rather than be reactive, my question is directed as to what are the commissioners considering in a preventive sort of way?
I think there's a lot of things that we can consider, but there are things that are on the drawing board. And I don't think it's appropriate for us to be stating exactly what our game plan is, because you have to remember, we control the buildings, but we don't control individual elected officials' offices. There are some departments that would never be able to close, such as the sheriff's office. Their job is safety. They would not be able to close. But we may have situations within buildings that we could entertain the idea of sending people home and letting them work remotely. But that is a pretty broad brush that you want to swipe across. And I am not, as an official, going to even begin to address that with the public until we have conversations with other elected officials and other authorities, and that we're all on the same page.
Anything, Commissioner Regula?
No, it's way too soon to be.
Okay.
I mean, there's fine that we talk about it and we have a plan, but again, this is way, way too soon. And I mean, I will not stir that pot. That's ridiculous. So at this
Do
point-
you plan to take Commissioner Norris up on his offer to come back on a more or less regular
Oh,
basis?
Absolutely, absolutely.
The point is communication, clear-headed, logical steps. Nobody should be panicking.
And wash
There's
your hands.
plenty of it. Coronavirus.gov is the CDC's website. It has so much information, and it breaks it down by categories. I was just on a conference call today at 1 o'clock with the White House Deputy Secretary. All of the efforts and resources that are being made available, and communication about the majority of the way to keep away from the virus and to keep clean. Those are very effective resources, and people should go and take a look at that. All of us have to take ownership for that, and we are.
And we as a government we would mind the 3 Cs that I've always called them: communication, collaboration, and cooperation.
Right.
And we cannot do that alone. We need everyone working together to conquer the 4th C, which is the coronavirus.
So-
Is there a contingency plan that you have pretty specific set up for different contingencies?
There are always contingencies, Robert. We can't address every one of them with you now, but things are on the radar and we're not being caught flat-footed, suffice to say.
But you know, are you able to reveal what those plans are at this point?
No, not at this point. Not at this point. We're not going to incite panic by addressing every little hypothetical that can pop up. We're going to address it in real time with the advice of professionals, health professionals, and safety professionals.
But you are going to have in mind, when you make that determination, to give a priority to prevention rather than reaction,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. That's always the goal. Absolutely.
Does the plan mainly concern county employees, county offices?
That's our first responsibility. As
Right.
commissioners, the buildings are in the commissioner's names and the buildings can be opened and shut by the
Okay.
commissioners. However, those that are inhabited by elected officials who have their own statutory domain that cannot be dictated to, other than the building being open or not open. And we also, so we have, the board has its statutory employees, the other elected officials, again, collaborating with those if the need comes to close a building. There's other things going on in the background now that I really can't disclose, that we're making preparations so that we're not panicked at the time when a decision has to be made. We have plenty of options.
Are you considering it, the plans not to be public record because of the security exemption? Is that what you're?
Well, there's not written plans that we're distributing to, you saw the memo today, there's discussions going on, that's what I.
Oh, okay, but you don't have like a plan on
But if
paper,
there,
a public document?
but if there were a plan and it addressed emergencies at this moment in time, yes, that would be not a public document, but there's not such.
Okay, all right, but you would see that as covered by the security exemption in state law?
Potentially. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not gonna just say any hypothetical document is or
It
isn't.
doesn't
I have
exist
to-
right now.
Correct.
Right, you have discussions about it, but you don't have an actual plan on paper.
That's correct.
Well, how about emails? Are there emails in existence on this topic that you would say, that the commissioners would say are not public records because of some kind of an exemption in the public records law?
No, Marty, there's nothing on your fishing pole to take catch. I know you love throwing that worm out there, but that's not.
These are mainly verbal discussions.
That's correct,
Okay.
and daily. I mean, again,
Okay.
as Commissioner Norris indicated, this is a fluid situation. New facts will bring about a new reality. Okay, you could literally be up 24 hours a day thinking about every nefarious thing that could happen. But we have general thoughts about how things should go, and then we will have specific plans as things move along.
Okay, and you're not close to triggering any of those plans at this point, based on the facts you have before you?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Commissioner Creighton, your point, well taken, that, the commissioners all are individually elected. We have, about 12 non-judicial offices elected in Stark County. These are folks that run their own offices. But in a roughly analogous way, Governor DeWine has a similar relationship with people across Ohio, government agencies, and he doesn't show any hesitation, from my perception so far, of no. He has to know that he can't order people to do things, but he's getting a pretty high degree of cooperation. Is that what the model that the commissioners are likely to follow?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we can make suggestions. I think people look to us to make those
I
suggestions.
mean, office
but again,
holders in Stark County have a lot of respect for the Stark County commissioners.
Thank you. We'll take that as a compliment, but I also respect my fellow office holders. I respect those other departments that I don't have jurisdiction. I cannot make
Right.
Alan do something. But I know that Alan would be cooperative, and I know Alan would want to be part of the team. Quit shaking your head. Would want to be part of the team. I mean, this is going to be a team effort if it comes to that. It's not a person. It's not a commissioner. It is the power of us.
Will the commissioners entertain questions from the general Stark County population?
We always do. What do you
everything.
mean? Well, what kind of?
I mean, if a citizen sends you an email with a question, are you prepared to respond?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We always are.
Now, why wouldn't we?
Is that
Well,
a
I'm
new
just,
thing?
pardon?
Is that something new? We get that every day.
Well, I mean,
Hypothetically.
Well, first, yeah, but I'm not gonna give up game plans to John Q. Public. I'm going to
Right.
answer, I'm either going to respectfully say to them that I'm not able to share something, or that, you know, we need to follow the advice. Again, I wanna go back to the health commissioner, and I told you that last week, and I didn't mean that disrespectfully. That is the ultimate authority, is the health commissioner. The director of health in the state of Ohio, they have the gravitas.
I would encourage you to crack the revised code and look at what the health commissioner can do. They can quarantine people, they can hire quarantine guards, they can, I mean, it is pretty draconian. If they feel that a health threat is on this community and they know the source of it, I think most people would be shocked. I mean, those were passed in the 1950s. And I think probably of the 1920s and 30s pandemic that occurred, but there are some very potent powers that the health commissioner and the Board of Health have at their disposal that I think most people would be surprised to see. Those tools are in the arsenal.
is the health commissioner completely independent of the Stark County commissioners?
He absolutely is.
absolutely.
They have a separate board. He
We don't
has
give
a
them any
separate
money.
hiring authority. The only thing they do is they're on our finance system that the auditor processes their transactions and payroll. But other than that, they are completely their own entity.
Aren't they in your health plan now?
They are, but that's by contract, not
Right.
because of some statutory.
Right, they're not required to be that, they
That's
choose
correct.
to be.
That's a sharing, a cost sharing.
Right.
Right, but they're entirely separate.
Absolutely
And
right.
the state law, you have, they don't answer to the commissioners, basically.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, they don't hire, fire, they have no appointments to that board, they are entirely independent.
The commissioners have no appointments to the, I think there's like two boards that select the board, but I forgot if the commissioners have a,
There's
or I
one
think it's
appointment to the board.
I think it's the cities and the municipalities and the townships that
They
might
get a
have.
say, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
but I don't think the commissioners don't. Oh, interesting, okay.
Right. Always go back to that Ohio Revised Code because there are things in there that always surprise if you haven't visited before.
And the misnomer for John Q. Public is that any time the word Stark County is in front of an entity, they automatically think it reverts to the Board of County Commissioners. Case in point, Stark County Area Transit, or Stark Area Transit, Metropolitan Housing,
Library.
Arts and Stark.
Stark County
I mean,
District
they all
Library.
think, yeah, they think that it's our
Stark Park.
Stark Parks.
Stark County Library.
Again, we don't.
Yeah.
You do choose some of the members of the board of some of those entities, not Stark Parks, but Stark Library, Starda,
Start one, or
You get one or two, I
one-
think.
Yeah.
That's
Not the majority.
Oh,
But
but not
again,
a majority.
not a controlling interest in.
Right.
Of course, all you folks are skilled enough in relationships with your constituents that even though there is a lot of ignorance out there, if you get it contacted, you'll be as helpful as you can.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
Yeah, right.
Everybody takes our calls.
Have any school officials contacted the commissioners?
No,
No,
not
no.
me.
No.
But they have been in contact with the health department. I mean, they understand that that is who is driving the bus on recommendations and safety tips and checking those boxes, and they absolutely have.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like you're trying to strike the balance, like, okay, we're talking about it, but we don't want to, like, talk about step number 5 when we don't even have conditions.
Step number 1, that's exactly.
Well, we
right.
haven't even had the first
Yeah.
identified case of
And-
COVID-19.
Well, and honestly, I think the public expects us to behave in that way. I don't think that they want to be stampeded, I just think they want
These
the
are
truth
I think you're-
and communication, and that's what we intend to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.